Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome to Geology 110, Natural Hazards and Disasters. Welcome to the first lecture. I'll give you a brief rundown of how this works. So, each unit will have a series of videos you're required to watch. After watching the series of videos, you'll be asked to possibly answer some questions, do something with this knowledge and material in a subsequent class, or any number of additional things. So please watch and listen to these lectures. Don't only put them on your headphones and listen to them while you're cleaning. You're going to miss something if you're not also watching it, because I'm going through materials. It's a visual experience. I'm showing you things. So make sure you watch and you listen. Again, each unit will have a series of videos that could range from 3 or 4 videos, sometimes a little bit more than that, depending on how much content we have to go through. But they'll pretty much all be set up the same, and you'll get used to how they work throughout the semester. Please pay attention, not only for the information, but embedded with the lectures might be something called a super secret code that you will need to utilize to gain access to certain things in Canvas. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So welcome to Unit 1. It's just an introduction to natural hazards and what those are. So each video, for the most part, is broken up into different sections. So Section 1 will be its own video, Understanding Natural Hazards. Every once in a while, I'll pose a question to you and pause, and I want you to think in that time. I want you to reflect about what I'm asking. So let's give it a shot. Why is studying natural hazards important? Why? Why do we study this stuff? Why is it important? Think about it. I'll wait. Did you come up with something? What do you think? Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. Let's talk about some other importance of studying natural hazards. Well, first thing, to understand Earth's internal and external processes. So, just kind of more the geology of it. That's what this class is all about. That's why you're taking this class. Internal processes that create hazards such as volcanoes and earthquakes. External Earth's processes, which create things like storms and flooding and landslides. So essentially, it's important to study natural hazards to understand geology a little bit. But it goes a little bit deeper beyond just that, beyond just this class. The effects on civilization, which can be great and can vary from country to country, state to state, population to population, person to person. How to adjust to those effects. The hazards we face here in Arizona aren't the same hazards that are faced in other states or other parts of the world. We have to adjust. These hazards are a repetitive natural process, and they are a potential threat to life and property. We gotta, you kind of want to know the bad stuff so you can deal with it again. And there is honestly no area of the world that is considered hazard-free. Here in Arizona, we might not have things like hurricanes and other things, but there are some natural hazards maybe that you weren't quite aware of, and we'll definitely talk about those not only this unit, but also throughout the year. So this is just a quick map that shows you the top natural disasters for each state. All right, top natural disasters. Now, it's the first time you've heard me say that term, natural disaster. Natural hazard and disaster are two different things. More on that in a moment. But those natural disasters, you can think the central U.S. tornadoes, go figure. A lot of the eastern coast and Gulf Coast hurricanes, go figure. Cold weather in the northeast, go figure. Floods in kind of more moist areas of the country, go figure. Wildfires in drier areas, go figure. Earthquakes in places where, there's earthquakes, go figure. What about Arizona? Thinking about this list: blizzards, earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, landslides, snowstorms, summer storms, tornadoes, wildfires. What's the biggest disaster causer? We'll come back to that. So let's talk about the difference. Again, I've used these two different terms. They are different. Natural hazard versus natural disaster. A natural hazard is the threat of a naturally occurring event that will have a negative effect on humans. If you live in Kansas, tornadoes are a hazard. They could happen. There's a threat that there's a tornado. If you live in California, there's a threat that an earthquake might occur. Those are known as hazards. That's the threat, So thinking about in California, we have hazards like earthquakes, wildfires, landslides. All of these are hazards. They become a disaster when they are the event that occurs and meet certain criteria. So a natural disaster is the actual hazardous event that occurs over a period of time within a certain area that meet the following criteria. 10 or more people are killed, 100 or more people are affected, lose their house, lose a job, road is severed so people can't drive. That's what affected means. A state of emergency is declared, typically declared by the governor of a state, and or international assistance is requested. So if any of those, it doesn't have to be all, and if any one of those occurs during an event, then it becomes a natural disaster. It has to meet that criteria. So if there's an earthquake, or I don't know, let's say there's a wildfire and only 9 people are killed, but nothing else, none of these other issues, then it's not a disaster. All right. So disasters are a certain level of bad. It has to get to a certain level. That's the event happening at a certain level. Just the threat of it, those are hazards. On average, about 80,000 people globally die each year in natural disasters. That's on average. Some years more, some years much less. Financial loss from natural disasters now exceeds over $268 billion per year worldwide. Again, on average. So let's look at some charts and graphs, shall we? So this is a number of recorded natural disaster events from 1900 to 2019. That's the most recent data I could get. So over the past 119 years. So these are disasters. So events that are 10 or more people killed, 100 more people are affected, state of emergency or international aid requested. So, and this is globally. So you can see from 1900 all the way up into the 2000s how that's really grown. What do you think that is? Why do you think all of a sudden there's just more disasters? The earth is still the earth. Earthquakes, we're still earthquaking. Tornadoes, we're still tornadoing. All of these things have happened and will continue to happen, but why are there more declared disasters? More on that in a little bit. So this is for the U.S. This is deaths from natural disasters. So this is, I'm sorry, excuse me, this is worldwide. Excuse me, this is still worldwide for the world. Deaths from natural disasters from 1900 to 2020. So the number of disasters is on the rise. But if you look at deaths from natural disasters, they seem to be kind of calming down a little bit. But when you look at some of these big peaks historically within the past 120 years, which isn't all that long, some of the types of hazards over here that really have created a lot of deaths, floods, those are those purple peaks, and drought historically, kind of in the past. But those are really in the past. When you look at now, you don't see those kind of teal peaks or the purple peaks. You see some other stuff. So from 1990 to 2020, so in the past 30 years, so this is just kind of zooming in that last section. What do you see? Some events, earthquakes. This one is an earthquake and a tsunami. These events have killed over 200,000 people in each of these, which is absolutely astonishing and amazing to think about. But also storms. Now, storms there's a lot wrapped in there. Hurricanes, tornadoes, typhoons. There's a lot of things you kind of in there. But different major storm events, most likely hurricanes, are the ones that cause some of these other things. All right. So, just some things to think about. So that's the end of section 1. So what we'll do, we'll pause here. We'll pause here, and when we come back, we'll pick up The next section in the unit, some additional natural disaster statistics, kind of making sense of some of those things. Why is there more disasters but kind of less deaths? What's going on there? So we'll pause here. I'll see you back here in just a second.